Hello, Midnight Coders, and welcome to another episode of the Midnight Coder. Every decision that we make today determines how painful or painless the code base is going to be 6 months from now down the road. Before we write features, we need to decide what the system actually knows. This episode is about why these classes exist and why they contain the data that they do. So, make sure that you've got that full cup of coffee, and let's dive on in. So, to start things out, we're going to take a look at the identity package. Here, we're going to pop into the domain model, and we're going to create a new class called user. This class that we're going to be adding is going to consist of some identifying information, such as the ID, the email, which is used for a unique login identifier. There's going to be a password hash. This is used for an authentication secret, and it is never to be plain text, always hashed. We're going to have a created at so that we can have some auditing for the life cycle, as well as it's going to keep a status. This is just going to be whether it is active, suspended, etc. So, as you see, identity should be minimal, security focused, no profile, skills, or team information here. Those are all relationships, not identity. So next we'll slip into the DTO package, and here we will create a couple of data transfer objects, such as the user registration request. This is going to simply consist of a private string email and a private string password. This represents user intent, not a system state. There is nothing, no timestamps, no identifying fields, nothing of that nature. Next, we're going to create another one. It is also going to be for a login request. This is going to be basically the same information. This will consist of a private string email and password as well. Authentication is a boundary concern, so we keep all of our credentials outside of the domain module. Next one we're going to create is a new class for user response. This one is going to have a string of an ID, and as well it's going to have the email and a private local date time created as. This way we keep we have a safe public representation, no passwords, no internal flags about what a user is. Finally, we're going to create our activity status, which is going to be an enum. My God, can't type. I believe that is what I called it inside of the users, was activity status. Yes. All right, and this is just an enum that is keeping track simply whether or not we are pending, whether we are active, whether we are suspended, or we are just otherwise inactive. Next, we'll move into the service layer, and we will build out a quick identity service. This is going to be an interface, and it is going to contain a few things such as registration, creating a user, some of the default things that we are going to expect to be using within our um, our identity service. All right, and here we can go ahead and implement our registration logic a little bit later. So next we're going to take a look at our repository. We're going to create a user repository interface. This is going to just simply be a user repository. Okay. Next, we are going to need to create a controller or a registration endpoint, as well as some login endpoints and registration. So here, we have our repository. We have our sealed interface for our identity service, which we're permitting the identity service implementation. This was just going to handle registering and replying with a user response. So inside here, we simply have to go through and handle our registration logic, where we will be saving a user to the database and creating a user from this object. Next, we also created a controller where we can have an auth registry exposed. And from here, if we make a post, we are posting our registration request. So we are registering the user, responding with a user response. We are taking care of nullability thanks to our J-specified null marked in our Spring Boot, or sorry, in our Spring Framework 7. We are calling this a REST controller, and we are saying that the request mapping is, of course, auth/registry. Inside here, we've created a simple user mapper. Again, this is a sealed interface that permits the user mapper implementation. And this simply is to take a user from the database and map it to a response so that we get the DTO that we're looking to reply with and strip it of any identifying information. And then we're also looking to go the other way with it and take a user response and fetch a user based on that information. And for that, we go into our implementation and we need to write together the logic that goes through here. So for now, this is the rough overflow of our user. And we will be following suit for the rest of the notification profile project and teams. So, in this episode, we didn't write features, but instead we made decisions. We focused on modeling the system before implementing behavior. And that's a skill that separates developers who write code from engineers who build systems. So in the next episode, we're going to take these models and start bringing them to life by adding services, repositories, and our first real CRUD operations without compromising the design that we just established. This is how you stop writing code that only works today, but start writing software that survives tomorrow. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you've learned something. Hit that like button if you did. And if you'd like to learn more, remember to hit that subscribe button and then turn on notifications to be notified when I post the next episode or when I go live. If you know a friend that might benefit from this series, by all means, remember to share as it helps us reach other developers. And as always, keep your curiosity open, your skills sharp, and that coffee cup full. I'll catch you in the next one.